Gummigoo not remembering Pomni in episode 4 was just as heartbreaking as him turning into confetti in episode 2, right after he arrived to the circus. But while we could feel we got no closure back then, now we definitely got it as Pomni waved him goodbye in Spudsies. But what exactly was going on between these two characters? Was it really about Pomni having a crush on Gummigoo? Or is it more about the fact that Gummigoo had a crucial part in Pomni's character arc and maybe he'll continue to do so? I'm gonna be honest, while I'm a sucker for a good ship, I have to say that Pomni and Gummigoo's relationship is just so inherently different that it makes zero sense to be stuck on this little detail that Pomni looked at him like she was in love. Having a connection with someone in the circus, so essentially an isolated place, could easily be misinterpreted even by the characters themselves. So in today's video, I'm going to explain why Gummigoo is one of the most important NPCs so far and how he affected Pomni. Pomni changed a lot in just under 4 episodes, because if you remember back to the pilot, Pomni was just as lost as I'm guessing everybody else as well after they spawned in. And this is understandable, because not only she arrived to a new place, filled with strangers, but the fact that she also is a digital copy of herself in a virtual world could have also added to her confusion and anxiety. And I think it was also interesting to see that after spawning in, Pomni was really careful with everyone. It didn't comfort her for the slightest that there were 5 other people who went through the exact same thing as she did, and I think it tells a lot about her character. Pomni had trouble trusting people. We saw that when she left Ragata back without helping her, and even her dream in episode 2 showed that she didn't trust anyone. And this aspect also came up in episode 4 when Ragata said,
"Oh, she's flirting with the gummy guy, 'cause she'd rather be with an NPC than with us or something."
And Ragata noticed that even though she tried really hard to make Pomni feel better about her situation, Pomni didn't really acknowledge her, but she immediately felt understood by Gummigoo, and that's why she also wanted to bring him back to the circus. And after they fell down the map and Gummigoo became self-aware, Pomni realized that they are basically going through the same thing. And I think what really differentiated Gummigoo from the other circus members is that Gummigoo was honest about his emotions. We could see his whole world getting shattered, so he had to reevaluate everything, just like Pomni. And the circus members have already accepted their fates. They were no longer questioning things, and they were not looking for the exit door. They just lived their lives as they would in the real world. And so Pomni and Gummigoo's bond formed naturally under these circumstances, and it also showed us how important it is for Pomni that she can connect to someone. And when Gummigoo was turned into confetti, it also symbolized the fleeting nature of everything in the circus. Not only connections and people, but also the sense of hope that Pomni had started to feel. However, after the initial shock, Pomni realized that she has to accept her new life and also the fact that everything is really fragile here. But it doesn't mean that short-lived things or connections can't hold value. After all, besides the fact that NPCs come and go, the circus members can also abstract basically at any point. So now that Pomni is more friendly towards them, she also cannot count on them being there for her forever. But I think the funeral scene in episode 2 also contributed to Pomni's understanding of her surroundings and how fragile their lives really are in the circus. But despite how everything is extremely fragile and how someone can disappear so quickly, the funeral scene also reminded Pomni that even the smallest connections can leave an impact, even if they are short-lived. And of course, in episode 4, we could see how Gummigoo had a great impact on Pomni. She even forgot how to speak properly.
"I'll call your order when your name's ready," yeah.
But we can see how happy Pomni was when she saw her friend, only to realize that Gummigoo does not remember her. And I think it was hard for Pomni to see this with her own eyes, because it's one thing when you think about it and it makes sense, but it's different to actually go through it, just like here. And I think after Ragata's comment in episode 2, when she said that Kane likes to reuse NPCs, Pomni still had some hope that maybe they could have a reunion and feel that connection again, because Gummigoo would also remember her. But at the end of the day, Gummigoo was only an NPC, so Pomni's hope was not entirely realistic. In this scene, when Pomni tells Gangle to give her a few minutes because she's talking to Gummigoo.
But it's Gummigoo. Can't the job wait a bit? It's not like this is real.
You can see that Gummigoo was surprised Pomni knew his name. And look at his hand as well. Maybe it's possible that Gummigoo had a very vague idea that they met already. But as we could see, their story had a different ending. Pomni let go of Gummigoo's previous version, and she acted the way she had to in this episode, where Gummigoo was nothing more than a customer at Spudsies. And this really shows Pomni's character development. She realized that in order for her to not go insane right away, she has just to go with things and not get too attached, because nothing is actually real in the circus, except for their feelings. And if she kept longing for the version of Gummigoo that she knew in episode 2, she would have had a hard time. But maybe it's possible that Kane used Gummigoo for this adventure just so he can give a closure to Pomni. Because even though Kane doesn't read emotions well, it seemed like he felt a bit awkward after he deleted Gummigoo in episode 2. So maybe that's why he brought him back. Or honestly, what's more likely is that Kane just used some NPCs randomly and he didn't care about how Gummigoo's disappearance made Pomni feel. Either way, Gummigoo's return was crucial in Pomni's character arc, and it was a key moment in her growth. And by seeing him again, Pomni was forced to confront the reality of the circus. And while Gummigoo's return didn't result in a heartfelt reunion, it still allowed Pomni to understand that she could move forward, and she didn't need to cling to the past or the idea that every connection had to be permanent in order to have meaning. And what Pomni also learned is that closure doesn't always come in the way you expect. Sometimes it's not about getting everything back the way it was, but about accepting things as they are and moving forward. And Pomni's goodbye to Gummigoo was an acknowledgement of this lesson, as she was able to let go of a past version of their relationship and accept that it had served its purpose in her development. But this also proposes the question, is it possible that we are going to see Gummigoo again in a later episode? And my guess is actually yes. I think it would make sense to bring him back again, because then he'd be there for Pomni's key moments where she grows and learns even more about herself. Even if he returns each time as a completely different person, not remembering her once, he could still serve as an anchor to Pomni's journey. Because if Gummigoo constantly gets reinvented by Kane for each adventure, it could also mirror Pomni's evolution. And each time Gummigoo appears, it might be a reminder that no one is truly static, not even Pomni herself. And so I think it was great to see Gummigoo again, especially because of how his comeback contributed to Pomni's growth. It was a moment that not only helped Pomni come to terms with the fragile, impermanent nature of relationships in the circus, but it also served as a reminder that connections don't always have to be romantic to be meaningful. And also, there's something deeply human in how she hoped for a reconnection with someone she once shared a bond with, even though deep down she knew the circumstances were different now. But this again shows that there are many types of connections, and it doesn't necessarily mean that the characters have to fall in love in order to have a strong impact on each other. However, I look forward to seeing how Pomni will open up to the circus members in the next episodes, and I'm especially interested in her and Ragata's relationship, which I'm guessing we'll see more in episode 5. Or what's also possible is that Gummigoo could also have an appearance in the next episode, but we will see. But let me know what you think about Pomni and Gummigoo's relationship down in the comments. Thanks for watching, don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.